Now pay attention, 007. I've always tried to teach you two things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be. This is Christopher Morales, That One Bond Guy, with another That One Bond Guy Meets with Jocelyn from Ladies Who Bond, a wonderful account that's on Instagram that started that, Jocelyn, explain your account. What's the whole purpose behind Ladies Who Bond?
Okay, so I'm still kind of working out the things that are going on the account, but I've been a longtime Bond fan, and I decided to kind of just step out of the shadows and start posting things that I like about Bond.
Right.
So that's kind of where I've started. I mean, it's pretty new, but I went on the 50th anniversary trip for On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Nice.
And I did part of the trip with my husband, and people were going up to my husband going, "Oh, who's the Bond fan?" And my husband's like, "No. It's my wife who's the fan. She wanted to go on this trip."
Nice.
So I thought maybe having a presence, from a different perspective, might be fun. But also just so I could share all the stuff that I like.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get a hold of you. I know my friend Brian from James Bond Aficionado, he had another conversation with you, and he told me that you're a wonderful person to talk to, and I had to get you on That One Bond Guy Meets because this is such a whole new perspective, and there's not a lot of female-run accounts out there in the Bond community, and I think yours has the potential to become one of those that gives us a whole new perspective, like you say. And I'm personally really excited about it. But yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? What started it off for you with the whole James Bond franchise?
Okay, so one of the first things that got me into Bond is probably the music. And that was in middle school. So I was in a concert band, and we had a band competition, and one of the pieces that we were playing was a melody of Bond music.
Wow.
So it was the theme song and Live and Let Die. I think For Your Eyes Only and Goldfinger.
Nice.
And, when you're only, 11, 12, and in band, you don't sound that great, right? So the teacher would play the theme songs for us to listen to, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. Oh, this music is great,"
Yeah.
So that was probably my first introduction to Bond, and then I think the first movie I saw was GoldenEye.
Nice.
And that was in high school, somewhere around there.
Well,
So
yeah, it's kind of a fun fact about me. I actually did concert band as well in middle school, and I have a huge appreciation for music and, playing an instrument and learning an instrument. I played saxophone from alto all the way up to baritone.
Oh, okay, everything.
Yeah, and, at the time I was in middle school, I really wasn't too focused on the whole James Bond thing. I was more focused on jazz and, things from the 50s and 60s, that kind of sound when it came to in my liking. Even today, my favorite artist is Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and all those guys. I love listening to all the oldies. That's all I listen to. So when they announced the whole thing about Billie Eilish, I was like, oh, I don't even know who that is.
Oh.
Well, all my friends know exactly who she is. But yeah, I have experience in a concert band, and that's where I, created a love for music. And I, too, really enjoy the scores and the theme songs of James Bond. It's another huge aspect that I love about it, which is super cool because I know different concerts. I'd love to go to the Skyfall concert coming up in Toronto. All the guys are going up there, and that's something I really would love to go to because it's music, it's James Bond, it's perfect. It's something with the community, and it's just unfortunately the timing's a little off because I'm still getting through college, and I have a study abroad trip coming up. I'm actually going to London for a month in the summer, so I've been saving up a lot of money for that.
Oh yeah.
So I could either get into that and go to Toronto for a bit to hang out with people, or save up and then get a little more to go to like Flores or Turnbull and Astor and get a tie without having to
Oh,
save
yeah,
up
yeah,
money, right?
yeah.
But yeah, that's so cool. So you said your first movie was GoldenEye. Would you say that that era of Bond is some of your favorite or one of your favorites?
I don't know. I mean, GoldenEye was such a great movie, and then the movies after, like I don't know, they're not in my favorites. I know that there's that trend going on right now where everyone's reviewing all the movies,
Yeah.
and the guys were doing what the first movie for each actor, like, was it really the best? And I'm like, I think it kind of was.
Right.
You know, I think for GoldenEye, a lot of people just didn't. I don't think they knew what to expect. So it's kind of and for me, I think there was a little bit of everything that made it a really great movie. And then I think the stuff that happened after that for Pierce, like, I think it was just really bad writers.
Yeah.
You know, like and then it started getting cheesy, and then I was like, oh, we're kind of going in that Roger Moore direction. Like, I thought it, and then yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, I agree. I mean, GoldenEye for me when I started watching them, because obviously I wasn't around when it first came out, so I have to go back and I've seen from Doctor No on. I did a whole binge and watched them twice and three times, and GoldenEye was something I feel like at the time was so new that people were all over it, and then of course the whole sophomore idea when he came back for Tomorrow Never Dies. I liked it. I really did like that one, and then the first three I think are super cool. Die Another Day was really cheesy. Again, I feel like it was the writers that let Pierce's character down.
Yeah.
But personally, Pierce Brosnan is really one of my top three Bonds and top three eras. But speaking of that, what would you rank your top three, either Bonds or Bond era?
Gosh, that's hard. I really do like the Daniel Craig era. I remember the first time I saw Casino Royale, I wasn't really into it, just because it was very different. But also there was a lot of explosions, and it was, if you compare like a Craig movie to a Sean Connery movie, there's a lot more talking, and it's not like explosions.
Right.
But then I went and I read the book afterwards, and then watched the movie again, and I had a much deeper appreciation for what he was going for, like his interpretation of Bond. So I really liked Craig's era stuff. I'm kind of sad that this is gonna be the last movie.
I know. But I think it's, I feel like after No Time to Die, I feel like that's going to lead, at least from the community standpoint, is that, and I think I could say for the rest of the guys out there, that we're all excited to have that moment in between where we can have events, or we can go to things, or we can speculate about what's going to be new coming up, what's going to happen with Eon in the future.
Yeah.
I hope Disney doesn't take over it, because I've heard things that like all we need is Disney to get involved. Oh my God, I don't know how I would feel about that, but let's not go down that road. Anyway, yeah, I feel like it's an exciting time. It's a bittersweet moment. That's a better word to use, because we get to enjoy Daniel Craig's last run, but it's sad because it's his last run. And then still it's exciting because we don't know what's going to happen afterwards. I mean, when we watched Casino Royale or even Quantum, we knew that there was going to be another movie after it. Now we have no idea. A new Bond's going to be announced, a new storyline and a new everything is going to be new. So it's very exciting. I mean, what are some things that you're looking forward to or wanting to see in the future?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of wonder, because they've already done all of the novels, and I think wasn't some of the other movies based on other people's novels? Like, are they going to start going back and revisiting that, or are they just going to start making up new stories?
That's the thing. It's so,
Don't know.
and also too, I know Joe Darlington was talking about this in his review of the Super Bowl short. Um, he was saying, this whole origin story of James Bond in the Craig era, it's really, you could either continue, it's going to be weird to continue that storyline with another person, another
Right.
character, or you can just completely do something brand new and go from there. Who knows? Because we're all speculating. I don't know how you feel about it, but we think that Safin, the new character played by Rami Malek, there's a lot of hints that he is possibly going to be that Doctor No type character.
Yeah, yeah.
So that being said, it could end with, you know, him meeting Doctor No or him being assigned to go see an evil doctor that's in Jamaica, and then the Doctor No, 1962 Doctor No would start, that storyline would start, but then we'd be in a corner because we wouldn't know where to go from there. So interesting. I think it's going to be a good source of conversation, but I would like to know, like, what besides you want the different perspective, what are some things and some aspects that you want to bring to the table in the Bond community through Ladies Who Bond?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, I know that, like, especially with this new movie that's coming out, there's that whole Me Too movement and
Yeah.
everything like that, and um, there also has been a lot of discussion. Oh, is the new James Bond going to be a woman?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm not really into that, like being a woman, and I'm a really strong person. I also don't like the idea of tampering with, original stories and original characters. But also in light of that, I think what they've done with, I mean, if you look at the cast, more than half the cast is all women,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all strong women.
Yeah.
In their own way. So I'm pretty excited that they're doing that, and I think they're working on changing that perspective. I mean, Skyfall was kind of a great eye opener in the sense of things are changing for everybody, like, in the spy world and
Mm-hmm.
and everything that's going on. So I would like to try and feature, the women more, and then just other things. I mean, I kind of wish there was more stuff, like more products for women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And some of it's very, very expensive compared to, like, I'm kind of envious that, I was like counting all the items for No Time to Die, and I'm all like, you guys get 3 jackets, you guys get like the new suits and how many shoes,
Right.
and then they come out and we're like, we're gonna have one Michael Kors bag or like
Yeah.
a couple of them, right? And I'm like, shoot, like it's almost $2,000. I'd rather spend that money and go to London and have dinner at Rules or something, It's like,
Right. Yeah.
I'd rather have, I don't know. But I'm also kind of, I don't know. But I think also some of the other stuff I'd like to visit is there are some like stuff, like of the guy stuff, and like the that one jacket that I really like. It was like the RGT.
Oh yeah, the
Like I'd like to try and see if it would fit me from like a tomboy perspective, because I kind of celebrate both sides. Like I love all the action. Sometimes I'm not like super girly, I like doing all the crazy stuff
Yeah.
too, like going and shooting guns and going on like car drives and
Right.
and all that stuff. So kind of that breaking you don't have to do all of the feminine things. Like you can still do the things that Bond does, or
Right.
Kind of exploring that, I guess. So I guess it's a little bit of everything.
Dude, that's really cool. That's really interesting. I've never, I mean, I've obviously being a guy has been wanting to do all the things that Bond could do, whether it's driving cars or, like you said, shooting a gun. But that is so true. Anyone, and doesn't matter who you are, can be James Bond, not the literal character,
Yeah.
but the figurative character. It doesn't matter. You could dress up nice, whether it's in a suit or not, and go to a nice restaurant. You can order something a certain way that he does, and it's all inclusive. You don't have to be male just to order a martini that's like the Vesper martini. You can go and do stuff, and
Oh
that's
yeah. Yeah.
something super awesome about what I love about pioneers like you who go out there and tell people, because I feel like there's so many people out there that think Bond or James Bond, or the whole idea of it is just literally misogyny and all that, and all he cares about is getting the girl and all that. But no, I mean it's much more than that. And if we dissect it, we're able to see, like you said, anyone can do anything that he does, and I think
Right.
that's super cool.
Right. I think that's why I'm really excited for the character Nomi.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just the clips that I've seen, I'm like, that's
Total
I'm pretty
badass.
excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's got the attitude, and she's like, don't get in my way, and I'm like, see, she can be,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can.
Yeah, and my whole spy and whole kind of lifestyle, I call it like the English gentleman lifestyle, started with Kingsman for me. The Kingsman franchise. Those two movies were the first kind of introduction into like the gentleman spy world for me.
Okay.
And back in 2014, when the Secret Service came out, the first one, I was collecting things. I was trying to order things certain ways. I was trying to do all like everything in that movie. And I thought it was really cool how they portrayed the female character in that movie. You have Taron Egerton, Eggsy, who plays Eggsy in the movie, who obviously is the protagonist, and you want to see him become a Kingsman agent. But, he fails. I'm sorry for spoilers if you haven't seen it, but he fails the first time, and the female character, Roxy, becomes the next in line to be an agent, which is super cool. Most movies you would see, the male is just going to go in. We already know he's going to be the agent, but she surpasses him. She technically has more seniority than him. I'm not going to mention that in the next movie she dies in the first 3 minutes, but
right.
Let's see that, and I think future-wise, I think Barbara and everyone at Young has been giving out very good and strong female characters, which is super cool. But I think we have a lot of good things to look forward to in that aspect.
I mean, I think a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think people think that this franchise is all about Bond being, I mean, when you look at it of the time, like that's really what happened, and that's something that we shouldn't just erase off the boards either. I mean, it's history that we need to learn from and not be today, But I think that's something that it's a reminder of what times were like then.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Going back to the Kingsman movie, I kind of like the fact that Roxy that there was no romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Like it was more of like a
best friend type of thing.
Yeah, and I really I like that a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I mean, at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was kind of rooting for Roxy and Eggsy, and then I realized, they would be better off as friends because they work together, and it just made a bunch of sense. And then as at the end, Eggsy gets his girl, and everyone's all happy.
Right.
In the scene, but yeah, I think we have some great things to look forward to, and that kind of leads on to my next question here, is that some things you're excited about in the Bond community, some things, your favorite aspects, I should say, of the Bond community that you've noticed or that you enjoy.
Everybody's really nice.
Yes, I agree.
Everyone is super, super nice. When I went on, so I did the Switzerland portion of, the 50th anniversary for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Like, everybody was really nice. And things that, like, even we had a dinner gala, and they, like, sat us with a bunch of people, and it was amazing to talk about Bond with other fans.
Right.
And there's not really any judgment,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that one's the big one. And then people just looking out for each other, like I see friendly stories and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I could say that, and I'm witness to that because I just started my whole account, this whole thing, shoot, a couple months ago, and I've been getting an outpour of support. Like I said, and by the time this video drops, everyone's gonna have seen the new intro and the new outro that um, you know Joe Darlington created, and then the Bond Bonanza created for me. They didn't have to do that. They reached out, and well, I asked if they could possibly help. Um, and again, it was for a new video that's going to be coming out, and I can tell you what it is. I mean, I wanted it to be a surprise for everybody, but I was able to sit down and have a conversation with David Zaritsky from the Bond
Oh,
Experience,
nice.
which was super cool. He was super nice. I know he's extremely busy with all the content that he's providing, but he and I sat down, and he said, I really enjoy your stuff, but I think what would really set you above everyone else would be a really cool intro. And he said, why don't you talk to Joe and see if he could get something started for you? So I go and talk to Joe, and I'm not sure if you've seen my YouTube channel, but he was my first interview from my
Oh,
first
okay.
That One Bond Guy Meets video. And so we've been talking before, and I told him the situation. He's like, yeah, I can do that for you. Just give me a few days, and I'll see what I can come up with. And he knocked it out of the park. And the same thing with the Bond Bonanza. Nate knocked it out of the park. And it's the support you get, and if you have any questions or need help with anything, they're there, and they're so willing to talk about Bond or just talking in general. There's great people, and it's really cool. But the one thing that I've come to notice is that there's a lot of Bond influencers on the East Coast, but not a lot on the West Coast.
No, not really.
And I know you've talked with Brian from the James Bond aficionado, and him and I, and you as well, we're all on the West Coast. So he
Right.
and I really want to push the fact, and David even said this to me. He says, I think it would be really cool if you guys could form up and create the West Coast division. And I really want to be able to do that. Me and Brian are thinking about events in the future. I know for me, I'm going to start up a Facebook page, at least in a small one for events that will reach to people in my area because I live in Sacramento, California,
Okay.
where there's a lot of Aston Martin fans because I go to car shows a lot. I'm a car guy. So there's a lot of Aston Martin fans, and they're all James Bond fans. And so I want to create events that would invite them, invite people that are just love the movies, and then we could all introduce them to our accounts, or the guys back on the East Coast, their accounts, and just make a whole thing over here on the West Coast because there's not a lot of presence over here. So that's kind of a goal of mine that I want to do. So
That'd be pretty awesome. That just reminds me, I just saw a post. Oh, I forgot who posted, but it was a picture of Oleander Brown
Mhm.
and their storefront, and it said something California, and I was like, I typed in the comments going, oh my God, are they opening a store here? And then I realized that was the theme of their storefront, was California, and I was so sad.
Right, you would think it would be a perfect place, like in LA or something, to open up a store because it's right by the beach, and they do a lot of swim trunks. And I messaged all of our Brown to see if maybe they could send over a pair or two, and I would love to go to San Francisco even and do a review on the beach or something of them and just talk about it. I think it'd be super cool. But yeah, I want to get together with people that are in the area. And so I'm trying to really get together with everyone here on the West Coast. But that's future. That's down the road. Summer's coming up. Weather's getting a little bit better, and so that's when I'm going to probably go all out when I get back from London, of course, after my trip. But yeah, I think again, I can't express this enough. The future of the Bond community is so bright and exciting. Everyone's popping out of the blue. Everyone's coming out of the shadows and making their mark in the community, which I think is super cool.
I think with social media, it's made it a lot
Yeah.
easier to come out. I mean, I've keeping up with the fan community. I'm normally on AJB, and I lurk on the forums there. I don't really post often, but that was kind of my main source, and it still is my main source of information. But then everyone creating these accounts, and even just connections to like the different brands and the broccoli family and all that stuff. Like it's so much more accessible.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. You're not sitting there and waiting, going, "Oh, I wonder how the movie's going to be." Like, we can talk about it.
Right, and it's like a family almost. Everyone is anticipating the same thing. Everyone is talking about the same thing, and it's been going on for so long. And now we finally have a medium to express their voice, and we're able to come together. And I think that's super cool. I kind of want to quote David here. He said, there's been a lot of arguments in the past, a lot of conflict in the past with people that have different accounts, but it's something different when we're able to come face to face and talk it out. It's like a shield, he said, drops, and we all become one Bond community, which is super cool. And I'm so excited to see what the future holds. And I love doing interviews like this. It's nothing formal. It's all for fun, and it's me getting to know new people, which is super cool. And I can't wait to do more. And in the future, if we want to collab on something, if we want to have a discussion, like a reaction to the movie, or reaction to different movies of the past, I'm more than welcome, and would love to do something like that for you, or whatever in the future. I don't know if you plan on expanding, and that kind of leads to my final question here: is what do you plan on doing with Ladies Who Bond? Is it just going to be an Instagram account, or are you planning to expand anywhere else?
That's a good question, because I was just having this discussion with my husband. I think maybe in the future there'll be more expansion, or at least more exploration of just the different aspects of Bond. I mean, for the time being, I really just wanted a place to post all my fun stuff. Yeah. Like going on that trip last year, and then a few years ago, for our honeymoon, we went to Europe, and we did one of my bucket list things was to do that drive, like through Scotland, in Skyfall, and we did that. We rented a car and we drove, and just, I wanted a place to share it, but not bombard my friends with it, just like, oh, that crazy one who's really into Bond. But I think maybe in the future, like, I'd like to start working on featuring maybe the women in the franchise, like the actors and the characters, and because sometimes I feel like that's not highlighted enough. Too.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that is super cool. And I honestly, like I said, I've never seen anything like. I mean, I've seen accounts post about Bond girls, and then now there's like certain people trying to, for content reasons, they're who's the best Bond girl, pick left or right, and just fun competitions like that. But there's not a really good solid person out there that is focusing on the women of James Bond coming from the actual female perspective, which I think is super clever. And I have a really good feeling that your account is probably going to be one of the most popular, because there's nothing else out there like it. So I look forward to seeing the growth of your account. And, again, anything you need, I'm here, and I'm more than happy.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for this time on That One Bond Guy Meets. I mean, I thank you so much for your time, Jocelyn, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for Ladies Who Bond. So,
thanks for having me. It was nice to talk with you.
It was great, yeah. So, everyone, this is again Jocelyn from Ladies Who Bond, and her ID for Instagram will be in the description below, so you can find it there, or just follow me on Instagram, and I'll be posting your name everywhere too, so you can give it a follow. So until then, everyone, like I always say, let's continue the journey in the next video. And again, one last time, thank you, Jocelyn, for joining.
Great, thank you.
Bye.